Well, we're going to get started here. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Welcome to our first virtual Brand University. I'm Rhonda Leverts, Associate Vice President for Institutional Marketing, and people from our staff as well as University Communications will be providing some updates on the work that has been done while we've been staying home and hopefully staying healthy. We're also going to give you some new ways to communicate and some new things to communicate about. We've got a lot of attendees here today, but this is going to be recorded. Just know that we can't see you. You can see us if we choose to turn the video on, but mostly you're going to be seeing people's screens that they're sharing. But anyway, we're recording this. We're also trying to answer questions as we go along in the chat. So if you have a question, please just put your question in the chat. Dave will be putting up links as we go along here. So, but again, we'll be sending, at the end of this, we'll be sending out a recording of this, plus any questions answered and any links that were shared during the time. We're also going to send out a survey. So, so all of that will be coming to you at the end of this session. So the first thing we're going to cover today is how the brand campaign has changed. We're going from Laker Effect to Next is Now, and I'll explain a little bit about that. We'll also be talking about how you can incorporate the brand elements of the new campaign. We'll also be providing new alternatives to printing this year, since we've been asked to reduce or eliminate printing as much as possible this year to save budget. We're also going to talk about Lakers Together resources for your re-entry to campus beginning next week. We have some important messages for you to pass along to your audiences, and we'll be giving you updates on vehicles and resources for your marketing communication. So I'm going to start with how the brand campaign has changed from Laker Effect to Next is Now. Again, if you have questions or whatever, please put them in the chat. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you have like a pink thing that looks like what's in the top right-hand corner of this slide. Just press on that and you'll see a little thought bubble there, and you can put your question in the chat there. Okay? So you may have noticed in mid-February, a campaign had launched that looked a little different than the Laker Effect things that you had been seeing for the last 4 years in our advertising. President Montella launched some new online program initiatives geared toward helping adults advance in their careers that include an undergraduate degree completion program and many undergraduate and graduate level programs, badges, and certificates. Because of the more concerted effort to target adults like we had never done before to this extent, we needed to act fast and shift our overarching image campaign to include an appeal to this audience. So you can see that image campaign that came out in February looked like this, a little bit darker colors. The age range of students was broader than our usual kind of undergraduate aged people. We have this bold white type and an electric blue background, and the logo mark stands alone. You'll see in the upper left corner, that's an example of what a billboard would look like. And then it would go to this website was an example of one of the campaign websites. Then about a month after that launched, the COVID-19 stay-at-home order hit, and our very bold statements inciting urgency felt a little tone deaf to the discombobulation and grief that people were feeling. So we took a little advertising break and kind of regrouped and started up about a month later with a more empathetic tone, acknowledging things are tough, jobs are changing fast, maybe jobs have been lost, and we just wanted to let people know that when they're ready to figure out what's next for them, GVSU has what was needed for upskilling or reskilling or even changing careers. So the visuals on these ads are much lighter, smiling faces, person in context. It was a little bit more of a friendly tone. And the photography was very prominent. And this is the look and feel that we will be continuing now, even post stay-home order and everything. So, so you're probably wondering what happens now with Laker Effect. You may recall that Laker Effect was developed as an overall image campaign for the university, but it was also the name of University Development's biggest fundraising campaign yet. A couple of weeks ago, during their enrichment, virtual enrichment event, the fundraising campaign was officially declared complete, and they announced that they had raised this record $130 million. Yay, University Development. So even though the fundraising campaign is done, though, Grand Valley faculty, staff, students, alumni, donors, etc., we're all still making Laker effects, right? And the Grand Valley itself is still all about making a positive effect on our students, our community, our state, and beyond. So we're asking that you please continue to tell Laker effect stories. If you have banners or graphics, or you've named events or a story section of your newsletter or whatever, Laker effect, that is all still relevant. In practical terms, Laker effect will not necessarily be seen as a primary headline anymore, but it definitely continues to exist as a theme, and perhaps at times a phrase in copy, like maybe at the end of something you'll see, and that's the Laker effect. Next is now related concepts are the new focus and headline in advertising. Brian will be showing you examples of that pretty soon, but you should know Laker effect is still relevant. The basic values of the campaign, of the current campaign, Next is Now, espouse the same values as Laker effect did. We're passionate, we're purposeful, we're always looking ahead, we're learning from each other. But Next is Now is what you're going to see in advertising. And you can also be applying some of these things in your own marketing communications. You'll see some templates available in gvsu.edu/identity. Jen and Nancy will be talking in a little while about what that means under the new print restrictions as we try to save money for next fiscal year. And if you have questions about something as you're developing your own communications and want to incorporate Next is Now, we ask that you please call us so we can work through it with you. We're learning new things all the time about how to best use the graphics and turns of phrases and copy, and would like to provide you with the current information about how we're using Next is Now. So please give us a call. Okay, so for those of you who joined a little bit later, please go ahead and put any questions you may have in the chat. That's accessible with a little pink tab in the bottom right. If you click on that, you'll see a thought bubble there. So I'm going to hand it off to Brian, who will show you more of the current campaign and ways to incorporate it into your marketing.
Thanks, Rhonda. Boy, it's great to see so many familiar names. I wish I could see the familiar faces as well. Thank you all for joining us today. For those who may not know me, I'm Brian Bickford, Advertising Communications Manager in Institutional Marketing. I'm here to talk to you about the new Next Image advertising campaign and how units and departments throughout the university can adapt the campaign for your own communications pieces. As Rhonda noted, the Next advertising campaign is in full effect. After our initial launch in February and our quick break, we are rolling along, and everything's out there and being advertised. We currently have 4 different campaigns running under the Next campaign umbrella. You see a screen. These are ads from our current image campaign. It's targeted to prospective students and their parents and the general public, and is meant to create awareness about Grand Valley. Currently running in these forms: digital advertising, including Facebook, in West Michigan, Detroit, and Chicago. You can see the mix of messages we're using touches on many of the key messages the university has always featured. At the top, we have a great return on investment, and we talk about experiential learning and faculty-student interaction. Then we talk about our academic excellence and how we rank, and that we're here in West Michigan, especially to appeal to those who may not want to go far away from home right now here in West Michigan. And then the last ad, the world needs problem solvers. That's a Liberal Education Foundation message, and that's more important than ever. It's one of President Mantella's more important focuses, that we continue to tell the story of Grand Valley's liberal education, and what makes it so unique for us, and how it's a unique selling point for the university. You can go to gvsu.edu libed for more details and talking points on liberal education. These are all timely messages, as you can see, and address some of the fears surrounding economic decline and all the other ramifications of the pandemic. Now more than ever, we need, great return on investment is important. The learning experience, whether you learn it online or in person, it's critical. So that's an important part of our messaging. In addition, as Rhonda showed us one of the ads, we also had a campus visit message tailored specifically to the stay-at-home order, and that said, think outside the house. And that was a very popular ad, and got great response. Now that people are able to get out, we're changing it up a little bit. It'll still be a visit message, but it'll be more tuned to those who to online and in-person visits. So that's where we are with the image campaign. The second degree, and Rhonda touched on this one, is the degree completion campaign. Our degree completion program is available in West Michigan, Holland, Detroit, and Traverse City, and that's where we're running these ads. They're on Facebook and digital advertising. They take control of what's next is a very strong statement, and helps people see what they can do next. It's more than just a degree made for you. These are, again, they play off of Next, and they link to gvsu.edu/complete, where students can learn more, request information, or apply. The next campaign is our adult professional campaign, and this is a statewide campaign for our online and hybrid programs, badges, and certificates. Because these programs can be completed online, the audience is statewide, and we've really cast the net widely for it, or broadly for it. So these ads are going across the state to get people to enroll in our online programs, whether that's a complete program, a badge, or a certificate. And we've had good success with those as well. And again, those use the word next to tie back to the campaign. The last campaign we have out there right now is for our graduate programs. We bundled 3 master's programs in computer science and 2 in professional sciences in Facebook and digital advertising to attract students into those programs which were in need of students, and doing well with those as well. So we're happy with those. The last ad here you see is for our Master's Social Work program, they've introduced, or they're introducing, the new accelerated hybrid MSW, and we're doing some advertising for that as well. So exciting times in the world of advertising. We're excited to be moving along, and you can see how all the ads have a similar look, but are different messages, and still work as a family. So you notice the similarities in those ads, and that's a perfect segue to turn it over to Rick Luce for a moment to talk about the basic design elements and how they can be used to help your communication pieces belong as part of the next campaign. Well,
yes, thanks, Brian. Lots of good stuff there. Hello, everyone. My name is Rick Luce. I'm the Creative Services Manager in Institutional Marketing. I wanted to share with you just very briefly some general information about the visual expression of the next campaign. Rhonda and Brian showed examples of digital ads, but of course there are many other components to a campaign, and we all know the importance of keeping them visually related and easily recognized. I think the graphic on the screen now may be helpful to give you an overview of the visual thinking behind the look. This is a generic print ad that may appear in a magazine. First, we use a very distinctive typeface for the headline. That typeface is National 2 Compressed Bold. We keep the headline short and simple when we can, and we also use, if you notice there are two different sizes to the words there. We do that whenever possible to emphasize a certain word or words. And it's also a style that's used throughout the campaigns and something that you could use as well. You also notice the brighter blue color that's dominant here, which is actually PMS 286. Here's in the headline, and it's also in the gradients that go over the photos. If the headline were over a photo, like the examples Brian just showed, that headline would be in white. The body copy is not National 2 Compressed Bold. That's a good headline font, but doesn't read well as body copy in an ad or a newsletter that you might have. Instead, you could use one of our standard typefaces. We use Gotham for that, but it could be Garamond or even Arial. And then a carryover from the Laker Effect campaign is the use of gradients over the photos. Functionally, we use these to help viewers focus quickly on a certain area of the photo that we want them to see. But it also serves as a unifying design element across the various parts and pieces of the campaign, and something you might consider using as well. And then finally, the logo. Here we use the black version, and the reason we use the black one here is it works better with that new 286 blue. We've retired the floating logos. That treatment, officially known as the snowflake effect from Laker Effect, that has gone away. If you're still awake out there, and you may have noticed that on those digital ads that Brian just showed, that none of them had the complete official GDSU logo like the one that's shown here. Those just had the logo mark, which we sometimes refer to as the circle G. We are now allowing to use just the circle G on quick read types of ads, which include obviously the digital ads, but also billboards and bus signs. Somewhere else on these quick read ads, though, we have to have the words Grand Valley or GVSU somewhere else. We absolutely have to make sure that these ads are clearly knowing that they're coming from Grand Valley. All standard printed pieces, like maybe a report or brochure, or things like retractable banners in a department, they still require the full logo. Of course, this is a very high-level overview, but hopefully it gives you some information to help on projects you may be working on or responsible for. My contact information is shown here. If you have specific questions or need advice, I'd be happy to talk to you. I also work very closely with Brian, so feel free to contact him as well on these topics. So, with that, I'll turn it over to Nancy Crittenden for the next segment.
Thanks, Rick. First thing I want to talk to, I'm Nancy Crittenden. I'm Manager of Marketing Communications in Institutional Marketing. First thing I want to talk to you about today is alternatives to printing, so that all of us are on the same page in terms of how we're going to go forward. This all began with a May 4 email from President Montella, where she asked us to start looking at cost-saving practices related to printing. Included in that were to produce digital communications, not print, move any items that we were currently printing to digital. And this applied to everything that we were doing across the university: promotions, flyers, posters, newsletters, invitations, brochures, reports, pretty much anything you can think of that we in the past had done in print. So as a result of that, I am establishing a goal that we will continue to be your partner in creating and distributing original and effective communications that serve your department's goals while dramatically reducing the university's print costs. So we developed a plan. If you've worked with us in the past, your project manager contacted you via email, gave you a list of projects that we normally work together on, and offered three options. One was to discontinue the piece, was to move the piece to a digital format, or three, in rare occasions, to obtain written approval from your VP for an exception to print. All of the tactics that we recommended and will continue to recommend are economical. They are accessibility benchmarks. They're more timely than print. You can update them more frequently. They're sustainable, so there's no waste. Most include analytics, so you can measure their effectiveness. And they're accepted as best practices at universities across the state and around the country. The one we prefer is the CMS a web page created through the CMS. That's Grand Valley's content management system. Makes it easy for academic and administrative units to publish current news, photos and videos about the department, events, and more. Basically, what you would do is you would create your web pages through the CMS and then use email ads and social media to point your audience to the pages. A good example that I'd like to show you is the financial aid report. This was done always as a print piece. It's now being done through the CMS and very successfully. The CMS has been enhanced so that you have not only the addition of text and photography, but you can also do pie charts. You can do icons with captions. You can do bar graphs and other kinds of charts. It's a very effective way and very visual way to get your information across to your audience. Email, obviously, is a tactic for communication, for invitations, announcements, newsletters, but primarily short communication. The university uses Emma as its email marketing software. We have templates available, so you really need to just create the content and insert it. If you don't have an Emma account, please contact the web team, and there's also an easy-to-follow tutorial that'll help walk you through all the steps. Of course, your project manager can still help you with that. Social media works very well to build community, share marketing messages, and promote events. You can either reach followers on your department's page at no cost, or you can use paid social media to target specific audiences. Megan will be talking to you later more about social media. Tagged PDFs are not really a preferred method, but they are certainly necessary at times. Basically, a file or a project that was originally intended for print is saved as a PDF and made available electronically. The end user then can either print the entire document or portions of it as needed. The downfall for this is that they have to be properly tagged to meet Grand Valley's accessibility standards and ADA laws. There are times, of course, when they are essential. I want to show you Health Check, which is a good example. For example, Health Check contains lots of complex maps, charts, and graphs. For example, these are maps showing where various incidents of various diseases across the state. It would be very difficult to create and upload these to CMS. It's also a very good option for really complicated, data-heavy charts and graphs. Another tactic that is often underused is PowerPoint. They can be used, for example, at programs, events, to replace a printed program. For example, convocation. We usually print a 24-page book for that event. We can create a slide that gets projected onto large screens at the event that show the order of the program so people can still follow along and not lose their place. IAM's created a variety of slide layout options. You can see 3 of them here, and they're pre-populated with campus beauty shots. Another tactic is the new event calendar, which has been completely overhauled with expanded capabilities that give your events additional exposure. Nate's going to be telling you more about that later on in our presentation. Laker Hub is a digital tactic, is extremely cost effective. It's essentially a cable channel 46.3 that runs on large TV screens throughout all the campuses. It runs 24/7. Right now there are 5 different screens in Kirkhoff. There are 10 new locations coming in fall. And best of all, you can designate a screen in your office or your building to also run the channel. It takes either slides or video. You can design your own, or you can contact University Promotions Office to help you get that off the ground. So it's important that all of us participate in the No Print Directive. If you need assistance or advice on how best to communicate, we encourage you to contact your project manager. If you don't have one, call institutional marketing. And for assistance with social media, you want to contact University Communications at 12221 or at this email address. All of the information I just shared with you is also available on the Grand Valley Identity site, and it pretty much reiterates the importance and the tactics that you can choose. Thank you very much, and now I'm going to send it over to Jen.
Thank you, Nancy. Hello to everyone. And like Brian, I miss seeing faces, so hopefully we'll be in contact again soon. If you don't know me, I'm Jennifer Allard, and I'm the Associate Director for Student Recruitment Marketing from Institutional Marketing. And I'm going to talk to you today and show you our refreshed academic programs pages. And as you know, if you have any of the printed program flyers, we were unable to print those this year for departments, but just wanted to let you know that if you do have the approved funds to do that and you feel like you still need those for recruitment purposes or events, you can order those through Melissa Garland if you need them. So keep that in mind. We would like to, though, direct prospects to the academic program pages that are used to populate your printed version. It's just a note that admissions uses these heavily. Any prospective student that asks for specific information on a program, they are sent a link to their specific page of interest. So we do update these annually when you send your updates to Melissa for the printed versions, which we won't be printing. They get put into the system and populate this page. One thing to note is if you have any changes throughout the year, please contact Melissa because we can update these at any time. We have made some great updates to the page, which I want to share with you today to make this more of a website look than just an information only. So one of the first things that we did to try to warm this up was we added a photo to the top of the page. Then we have the compare this program option that allows prospective students to compare programs quite easily. And then you can add more programs if you like. It just gives you an opportunity to see comparison between all of the facts and figures that they might need to make a decision on a program. In addition, we still have the request information and the apply buttons, but we've also added an attend an event, and this is for grad only. And if you haven't met her, Rachel Vandenbroek is the new graduate admissions counselor, and this is a page that she's maintaining for graduate events. So if you do have an event and she doesn't know about it, I would definitely get in touch with her and she can post your event on that page. I just want to note that we have started making these changes on the grad pages. All of the grad academic pages are complete, and this summer we will be working on the undergraduate pages as well. In addition, on the grad pages, we have the podcasts that are produced by the graduate school, and they've been quite successful for us. And they just give a rundown from A to Z, from curriculum to program requirements, for students to get a quick listen on what they need to know about the programs. Then we have also added these call outs on each of the pages, which we will also do for undergrad, from our new product called MC. If you're not familiar with it, it's a product that President Mantella used to use at Northeastern, and we were able to purchase it for Grand Valley. And we have gone through and done all the graduate programs, and what it is it has combs 40,000 websites, from anything from social media to job postings to labor bureau statistics. So it has a ton of information. And then we culminate all of that for each program, and we pick out the facts that we think highlight us in the best light. So those will be on every site as well. In addition, another thing MC allows us to do is pull statistics or skills based off of what the job postings are for that specific major. So in this case, this is biostatistics that I've pulled up. These are the skill sets that employers are looking for with people that are looking for jobs in biostats. So why we're placing this here is to ensure our students, our prospective students, that you will get these skills at Grand Valley with this program and ultimately help you in getting a job when you graduate. We've also added the admissions requirements at the bottom, which weren't on the page before. And if your program has a lot of requirements, which some do, we've added a link at the bottom to the catalog for the full information. And finally, we've added our new L3 program, the Laker Lifetime Learning, because we want our alums to make sure that they're aware that they can take advantage of this great new program if they're coming back to further their education. And just a note, if you are looking at your pages and you feel like you would benefit from adding something that we don't have on here, we're open to any suggestions, as we want these to be living pages that we continue to improve. And with that, I'm going to send it back to Nancy.
Thanks, Jen. I'm sure that all of you are wondering what's going to happen when we come back to campus. So I'd like to talk to you more about or at least talk to you about the Lakers Together campaign. The decisions are being made every day about how things should be handled on campus, both in terms of operations and in terms of how we should be behaving to protect ourselves as well as other Lakers. I'm going to talk to you about signage that's a physical manifestation of our personal responsibility. We live in a climate of care and concern, and we want to keep ourselves and others safe as we start to come back. There are two groups of messaging that I'd like to talk about. The first are health and safety messages. These are related to the behaviors we need to adapt to protect ourselves on campus. These come mostly from the CDC. We stay in alignment with their recommendations about social distancing, face coverings, touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, washing your hands and washing your hands and washing your hands, and sanitizing shared surfaces. The other type of messaging you're going to see is a little bit more detailed. It's educational. For example, how you take care of your face covering. I don't think many of us think about that. How to recognize the symptoms of COVID and what to do specifically if you're sick. There are several ways that we're going to be presenting these messages. There are a group of signs that are actually being printed and installed with IMT's approval by the university. Those include directional signage. For example, this floor sticker that reminds people to stand 6 feet apart will be located any place lines tend to accumulate. You'll also see signage like this. This is a window sticker that you will see on the entry door, every entry door to every building on every campus. These are the primary behaviors that we want everyone to adapt. We're also making available a word template that can be used for location-specific messages that aren't covered by the university messaging. So, for example, the library is going to put in place specific procedures for returning books. There will be signage on any of the book return locations that they're printing and creating that remind people, that let people know that the materials won't be available for 3 days after return. These kinds of signs are ones that you can print on your office printer. They're sized at 8.5 by 11 because that's the most common size for office printers. We're also going to be using some digital tactics like your hub, which I talked about earlier. There will also be messaging on the login screens on computers, in labs and public spaces, as well as Blackboard. All of this information will be available to you on the Lakers Together website. It's under the Personal Responsibility tab. There's a link that says Lakers Together Campaign. And the website for that, the URL for that website is /Lakers Together. I want to talk to you about one other thing. Jen mentioned L3 as she was speaking to you earlier. I'm going to try and pull that slide presentation up. Sorry for the delay. Lifetime learning is a commitment that Grand Valley has made to all of its graduates. You'll find that it ties in beautifully with all of the advertising we're doing to adult learners, as well as any returning students. Our philosophy is that we have a responsibility to support our graduates both now and throughout their lifetimes. So L3, which is the short code for Laker Lifetime Learning, is a comprehensive, holistic network of services and resources that reinforce our graduates' continued learning for every stage of their life and career. This is particularly important now with the educational landscape changing. People are looking for new jobs. They're looking for opportunities to grow a job. They may be changing a career, so they need another degree, a badge, a certificate, even another bachelor's degree. L3 will help them do that. There are actually three parts to L3. One is financial resources. This is significant because not only do we offer graduate assistantships and research grants like other universities, but we've also established a one-of-a-kind $1,000 account. It can be applied to any credit-bearing coursework, badges, certificates, advanced degrees, bachelor's degrees. The only requirement is that an applicant hold a degree from GVSU. In fact, there is no application that's required. When you registered, that money is automatically available to you or to them. L3 also offers career support. They have certified career coaches that can work individually with alumni. They can develop new plans, replan, prepare for jobs of the futures, maybe even some that haven't been thought of yet. They can help prepare professional materials, identify ways to build networks, and in addition to the education I've already talked about, they also offer professional development opportunities. The third part of L3 is the alumni networking. This is done obviously through the Alumni Association, and they can offer civic, social, and professional opportunities. They also have local and national clubs and chapters to support our alumni. So we've been promoting L3 to alumni through obviously the website, career services, graduate school pages that Jen mentioned earlier. The ad campaign that Brian discussed will also direct people to L3, and social media posts and videos. You, though, need your help. What we'd like you to do is to leverage your contacts with alums and even current students. They're going to graduate soon or eventually, and we would like to keep them in the fold. You can connect with your what we'd like you to do is connect your contacts to the L3 website. You can do this through newsletters to alumni and other discipline-specific student groups. You can add links on your web pages. And on the alumni website, there is a tab labeled resources. If you drill down, there is a link for campus partners. This offers a lot of resources that can also help you talk about L3. Now more than ever, with so much uncertainty and so many challenges, we really want to emphasize that nothing will change Grand Valley's commitment to our graduates. Let's all support them now and throughout their lifetimes. Jen, I believe I'm sending this back to you. Is that correct?
That is correct. I just wanted to show you guys a few tools that we have available for you to use that are online recruitment tools. And if you haven't seen this, this is the virtual view book that you are welcome to use for your prospects. It is a unique tool in several ways. One is that it is personalized for every person that comes on, meaning that we're not telling them you're going to see this, then you're going to see this. They can play around with it and create their own experience. Each one of these categories that are up here have a series of videos, photos, and then unique subpoints that we've put in here in text. So it's a pretty cool product, and it's gotten some really good usage. And we just got it in the fall, and we're continuing to boost it up. Not every category in here it just has photos at the moment, but we've got a lot of videos, and our goal is to have videos for each category. And we also highlight our students, which as we do this every year, we'll replace them with new ones periodically. The other part of this is the virtual tour. And that is an interactive campus map. And it's a pretty neat map because it gives you the lay of the land of our campus. If a lot of our students don't get a chance to come to campus or think that we might be smaller than we actually are. So it gives a really cool visual to what our campus is. There's a couple of cool features to this also. It's interactive. Right now it's at summer, and you can change it to fall or winter, and we'll just quickly go back to summer because we don't want to go back to winter. On the side, there is a menu. These are categories. So if you're only interested in looking at the housing, then you can look at housing. So when you go into each individual building, just like the view book, you'll have some videos, some 360 tours, photos, and text about each individual building. We also have on the side the health campus, including the new health building and the Pew Grand Rapids campus as well. Also wanted to let you know on this, as well as the view book, which these links from the view book are up here as well. You can copy any of these links and send prospects directly to your building if you want to show them your facilities. We have a brand new product that President Mantella will be introducing at the board meeting on Monday, which is a mobile tour. So when you get this link, use it on your phones. I'm only having it up here on my screen because it's kind of hard to show you my phone right now. And this is called Visitor. And this came about because obviously for COVID, we couldn't have people coming on campus to do tours. So this allows our prospective students and parents to come on campus and take their own tour. So there's several ways they can do this. The first one is the Explore Near Me, which will pick up, it's GPS oriented, so it will pick up where you are. And right now, since I'm sitting in my house in Rockford, it's telling me that the health campus is the closest to me. And like the virtual view book and tour, it also has the same kind of content. So you have the text there, you have photos there to peruse at your leisure. The nice thing about this is our recommended tours. So for example, these are tours that we have planned. And if you came on campus to take a tour with a tour guide for the Allendale campus, these are the stops you would make with the tour guide. So this is neat because now we have had a tour guide, and you won't be able to hear this, but we have a tour guide that is taking you through each one of these buildings, giving you a short description of what is in each building. We have this now, as I understand today. We now have the Pew Grand Rapids campus that our partners in UCOM have finished all of the tour guides for that as of today, and Health Campus is up and running as well. And today we also added a housing tour because we think it's very important that they're able to see all the different types of housing as well. And the final piece of this is that if they didn't want to do any of that and they wanted to just personalize the tour, they're able to go in and see all of the pieces that we have in here, and they can click on it and create their own tour. And when they get to campus, it'll give them the tour, and it also tells you what campus on there as well. So we're hoping this is going to be a really good tool, and I hope that you will also send this out to your prospects. We'll give you the link to this, and we hope you actually get a chance to get out around your campus and use it when you get back to campus too, because it's a really fun and unique tool. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Nate Huckstra from University Communications.
There you go. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty there for just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so everybody can take a look at a little bit of show and tell today. Just to introduce myself as we're going through that process, my name is Nate Hoekstra. I'm the Associate Director of Digital Content in University Communications, responsible for digital content management, website content, GV Next, which is University Communications Digital Newsroom, the new events calendar, and many other digital properties throughout the university. Today, I'm going to go ahead and show you a brief overview of some improvements to some of our most important platforms and let you know how you can use them to help promote stories and events in your own spaces. So as you can see by what I'm sharing on the screen, what we're looking at is highlighting the brand new events calendar, which is going to end up being an important resource to offices and departments all across campus. This new design is currently live and has been for about a week and a half. Want to give a special shout out to Dave Portvliet and the rest of the web team and those developers for getting this done on a very tight time frame. The goal of this redesign of the events calendar is to make the events calendar a destination for information that's both meaningful and helpful to all of our users. We now have the ability to highlight events on the events calendar. As you can see, we've just pulled out one example for this afternoon's virtual Laker Town Hall to showcase kind of what those types of things will look like. Another example where we would have multiple events that would be highlighted. As you can see by all the little red arrows, this is how we're highlighting them on the actual events page. Additionally, we now also have the ability to highlight events on the university homepage. So when you are at gvsu.edu and you look on the right-hand side for events, big important events that are, we have the ability to highlight those rather than just seeing things in chronological order. So that's a nice way to highlight some of your events that you go in and submit. I believe Dave just shared a link for it. Additionally, another way that we have the ability to highlight events is in the daily GV Next email. That's what you probably see in your email inbox at 7 o'clock, just about every day, that goes out to all university faculty and staff, as well as members of the general public. Whenever we have stories to produce, and whenever we highlight something in that, it would be our list of the stories up at the top, but then we now have the ability to create this section of content down below, highlighting events for the day. So that's a nice way to get that out to thousands and thousands of people on a daily basis. With that said, the emphasis for the events calendar now is going to be distinctly on quality rather than quantity. What we're looking for to really make this a strong space is we're looking for events to have descriptive titles and details on the specifics of the event, as well as some specific details about what participants should expect. As you can see from the examples, we're looking for events where visuals are provided so that we can more easily use those in the highlighted spaces. Essentially, the goal for this is the more robust the event listing, the better chance we have of picking it for specific promotion, both on the homepage, on the events page, and in that daily GV Next email. So by building better events, we're getting a better end product for our users, which in turn makes all of the postings both more important and also lets them be seen more as traffic to that site increases. We're really looking forward to building this space to be more useful to all of our faculty, staff, and students, as it's a space that they can all use. Part of the reason that we're so excited about the new events calendars is that it helps to expand our new efforts in university communications to focus our work on GV Next, on more in-depth feature type story coverage rather than day-to-day events details and coverages we had done in the past. As we move toward this as we move toward this feature coverage, we're also in the final stages of redesigning the GV Next site, which is University Communications online newsroom and the main news source for the university. The design change also coincides with the branding change from the former news site, which was GV Now, to GV Next to match the Next is Now campaign that we just talked about. With the new site, and I'll give you a brief snapshot here. This is just a screen grab because this site is not quite ready to go live yet, but this is a test that's populated with our current design. We're focusing on flexibility of design to highlight the excellent work of our university writers, our 4 university photographers, who you'll learn about in just a few minutes, as well as our very talented video team. As you can see, the new layout will be much more visually driven to match best practices and trends in web and mobile-friendly designs. And I just want to kind of show you, we have a page that's populated with cats. So for any of you animal lovers, this is your happy moment of the afternoon, because the web team loves to populate test sites with cats. But essentially, there's going to be large feature stories, 2 sub-feature stories, And then it's also going to populate several more stories down below that before you get to the archive section. So we're hopeful that by categorizing things this way and designing it with a more visual look, that it'll be a lot more appealing for all of our end users. One thing that you'll note is that design-wise, we are focusing much more on categories and on tags. We'll have this initial list on the left-hand side of all the main categories of topics that we tend to write about on a regular basis. And then down here, we will have a collection of featured topics, which will rotate in and out on a much more frequent basis, depending on the news of the day or that are kind of trending and that we're writing about more often than not. And as you can see, like I said, the other visual approaches that we're really taking to this is when we're looking at individual stories. It will really give us a chance to highlight the work of our photographers. We have, this one's cropped a little bit strangely, but big full bleed headers. It's also going to increase social sharing as we're building in links to the social media platform APIs right in here, which makes it easier to share. And then rather than having one main image and having to click through a gallery to see all the photographs, we're going to be able to build a lot more inline in a variety of different formats and shapes and sizes, once again, to highlight the creative work of all of our very talented coworkers in our office. So hopefully, like I said, that will provide a much more robust user experience. So just one more reminder that since we are currently talking about the website, I can't help but just do a quick plug for us that anytime that you want to, feel free to reach out to us in University Communications if you have a good story idea. We're always on the lookout for good leads. If you're unsure of who to reach out to, feel free to visit our staff directory at gvsu.edu/ucom, where each of us has a listing of all the departments that we cover. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it to Elizabeth Lino, one of our wonderful university photographers, to share with you what the resources we have on the photograph side of things are. Liz?
Thank you, Nate. As Nate said, I am Elizabeth Lino, and I am a member of our photography team in University Communications. I'm here to I'm part of the photography team, but that also includes Amanda Pitts. And then we had 2 new members join our team last year, Kendra Stanley Mills and Valerie Wojciechowski. I'm just going to give you a quick update of some of the online resources that might be useful to you. The first one is a refresh of the photography details site. So if you navigate to our University Communications site and then click on photography, each type of event request, so event, group, and studio now has its very own landing page. If you click into them, they have linked here at the top the request forms, which if you've requested from us before, you're very familiar with us. That is the way to contact us to get our services. They also have more details below for each of these requests about optimizing your coverage, about best practices, about costs, just to give you a little bit more in-depth resource there. As we move into the fall, we are still working out the details of what that's going to look like for photography. Any updates to our services will be listed on this page, so check back frequently. One of the things that's been added to this site is the new form, the photo project starting point. We have a lot of people that are confused when they need something other than event photo coverage or a group photo or a studio portrait. So anything else that you have that you need our help with, the best place to go is to start with this form. It's some pretty broad questions that give us a starting point to see how it is we can help you. Here also is archived photo request. Please submit here if you can't find something on Widen, and we will get to it. Please do note that any of our photo archives prior to 2006 have now been moved to University Archives, so there's a link here to contact them as well. Here also is a link to Widen, which is our campus photo database. Many of you, I'm looking at who is on the list, probably are familiar with Widen, but it is a good resource for quality photography, as Nate was mentioning, the events calendar, your website. This is a great place to get quality photography. It's always changing, it's always being added to. Release forms are also available here. We did add the minor release form to this as well. I think that's about it for there. Let me switch over to Widen for a few updates there. Okay, so here's Widen. Many of you, like I said, are probably familiar with it, but this is our photo database. The easiest way to search up here is a keyword search. So just like you would do on Google, put in some terms. Another place I tell people to look is this new photos spotlight search. This is everything that's been recently added. And then otherwise, these spotlight searches down here are just things that are commonly searched for, things that are a quick reference that you might need. We try and keep a gallery going for the new content we have for each season, which is really nice if you just need to come in here and pull something for your website to keep it fresh, or a newsletter or whatever. Try and keep a repository of campus photos, and then some of the major, campus events, commencements. There's a gallery of our COVID response photographies. So those should help you to find things more quickly. And then one thing I wanted to also note is that if you are downloading an image, if you select this JPEG web header, it will download a file that is 2000 pixels, which is what you need for most of our web needs and for the web header photos. Original format down here will get you the highest resolution file. Just make sure your computer is capable of handling that. Widen, like I said, is not everything we have, so feel free to reach out if you can't find something, or if you need something that you're not seeing coverage of. We are happy to add that to our rotation. The final thing I wanted to share is that our photography team is now on Instagram. So we encourage you to follow us here. This is just a nice place for us to put some of our work that maybe is not shown elsewhere, or additional projects that we're invested in. So feel free to follow us here. Another fun thing that we have been doing is this exposure page. We've done several of them now, and they just really highlight our storytelling from a visual perspective. So you're welcome to check those out too, and follow us on Instagram. We would love that. And with that, I am going to turn it over to the lovely Dottie Barnes.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I just have a quick update for you all. I'm Dottie Barnes, like Elizabeth said, in University Communications. I am one of the writers on staff, and I'd like to pass along some information for my colleague, Michelle Koffel, who is on vacation today and having lovely weather, so we're happy for her, a well-deserved vacation. So I'm updating you quickly about the forum. So many of you know that is our bi-monthly newsletter for all faculty and staff. Well, that will no longer be printed and distributed to mailboxes. So we were fortunate for 44 years to be able to distribute the forum, and that's a lot longer than many other universities committed to printing. So we're proud of that. So here's what will happen with the forum information. Some of that content will be folded into GB Next, our online newsroom and news format, but the forum website, gvsu.edu/forum, will remain active, and we will be updating that on a regular basis. And faculty and staff sketches, which I know are so important to everyone, faculty and staff, for announcing awards and publications and research and conferences. So that will still be live, and you can self-submit online for that to the forum website, or you can email any of the writers. We can submit it for you, or you can use the forum email, which is forum@gbsu.edu. So faculty and staff sketches will still be on the forum website. And then as far as your departmental communications, your websites, your e-newsletters, these are going to become a very important form of communication for faculty, staff, students, and now our external constituents. So we would ask that you pay attention to be sure your e-newsletters are consistent with university messaging, concisely written, and then contain appropriate images and photos. So for help with that, Michelle Koffel has extended her expertise with that, as she already has, but will continue doing that. She can help you with copy editing, content creation, brainstorming. Really anyone on our staff can, but Michelle is our lead in that. And so that's Michelle Koffel. And I know you probably know her email, but it's koffelm@gvsu.edu, or when we're all back on campus, 331-2224, just to throw that in there because this will be recorded. And so happy to answer any questions, but that's what's happening with the forum. And now I'll turn it over to Megan.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Saxton. Just one second as I get my file up for you all. All right. So, like I said, I am the social media coordinator in university communications. Anna Young is a new member of our social media team, but she couldn't be online with us today. Since we're no longer printing and we know social media is an effective way to reach people, we will be sharing best practices and some guidelines with you. All of this information as well is available at gvsu.edu/social media. Please make sure that you're being respectful, sharing accurate information, and remember that posts can never be undone. So think before you post, especially when discussing something that's potentially sensitive. Keep track of who has the passwords and make sure that you're changing them often. So we'll start with some Facebook best practices. Please fill out your profile and use a GVSU approved logo. Institutional marketing does have a web page for that. Make sure that you're using a Facebook business page as opposed to a personal page to represent a GVSU department. Try to post at least 3 times a week and include a high quality video or photo with your copy. Widen is a great place for that, as Liz mentioned earlier. We'll move on to Twitter. It's an opportunity to engage with your followers in real time. The conversation moves fast and the shelf life of tweets is short. So to stay relevant and stand out, you need brief copy and a compelling visual. If you don't have a lot of content to share, then Twitter might not be the place for you. We recommend evaluating your goals and what you hope to get out of being on social media. We're happy to consult with you on what might be the best platform for your department. So for Instagram, it's a very visual platform and it's the place for pictures, not flyers. If you have flyer type graphics, you can put those on your Instagram story and highlight them to your profile. Visit at GVSU on Instagram for an example of how we use Instagram stories. We have some highlights on our profile about the Lakers Together campaign, fun wallpapers, and more. On all platforms, make sure you're responding to people and answering questions. Engaging is part of building a community. Social media is a customer service tool. So we'll have these best practices updated on the social media website soon. We ask if you're creating a new website or creating a new account, to reach out to Anna and myself. We have a directory on the social media website. We also have a Facebook group for GVSU social media admins to communicate and share resources. And finally, oh, okay, we're good. I didn't realize that I was on the slide already. We are participating in the GV Lakers Together social media campaign. When posting about it, please make sure that you're including the hashtag GV Lakers Together for consistency and include the /Lakers Together website as a call to action. Again, our Facebook group for social media admins has resources for you and we're happy to answer any of your questions. You can also email us at socialmedia@gvsu.edu. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Megan. And we just want to thank all of you for participating. We're actually going to give you a gift of time. This was supposed to go till 4:30, but thanks for hanging in for as long as you did. I think we've kept up pretty well with answering questions along the way, but as I said at the beginning, we're going to be sending out a